Hello everyone. This is episode 2 of Min Max, and if you haven't seen the first one, I'll have a link to it in the description box below. If you haven't seen me before and you're wondering who I am, my name is John Calvo. I'm 25 years old. I live in Wichita, Kansas, and I've been on a weight loss journey since May of 2010. And from May of 2010 to about April 2013, I lost 190 pounds through natural means. I didn't have a personal trainer. I learned a lot of what I know about nutrition and weightlifting and exercise through my own personal research, through researching tutorials and videos on YouTube, through constant research of scientific research papers and studies, and just reading about various different nutritional styles and approaches. So basically that's where I'm coming from. So this video is going to cover pretty much everything you need to know to lose weight, to start losing weight, to break past plateaus, all the basics, and even some advanced techniques that you need to do that. So why am I making this video now? I've been wrestling with myself with what I want to do personally. I'm self-employed, oftentimes, especially in today, like making a lot of these I've been doing a lot of pretty much just consultations, you could say, for people, providing workout programs, providing nutritional advice, and doing a lot of that has been my job. And I've been wrestling with what is it that I should do with that, and then what is it that's right. And honestly, this is what I feel is the right thing for me to do. If I do this and I'm giving everyone everything that I know, then if good wishes to come to me, it will come to me. And that's the way I like to look at things. So I'm doing this for all the people out there that are suffering the exact same way I was, because honestly, when you're morbidly obese, I know exactly how you feel. And I feel that the media doesn't do a good job at being empathetic with that, being empathetic with people like that. That are people that are maybe in your situation, or have been in the situation that I've been in. They really have no empathy or sympathy for that. So I'm doing this for all of you, and I'm doing this because I'm tired of all the misinformation out there in the fitness industry. It just really leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So I want to open up this video with a little personal story of mine. So some of the toughest times of my life throughout middle school and high school, a lot of people don't even know this, was spent with me sitting in front of the mirror naked, just crying, just crying, feeling hopeless. Like, what can I do? Why am I in this situation? Why have I been put in this situation? Why do I have to suffer this way? And I know a lot of you out there are going through that. And it's hard because you don't have anyone to believe in you. So, I didn't grow up with a lot of emotional support. I didn't have a lot of people telling me they believed in me. And when you have to grow up like that, and you have all these people out there trying to tell you what to do, it's hard, okay? So, if you're growing up, or if you've already, you're already an adult and you are overweight or obese, and you don't have that emotional support, it really is the thing that you need most. So, just want you all to know that I'm doing this for all of you, because okay, all right. So, basically, you have to become your own miracle. You can't sit by and wait for a miracle to happen, because when no one else will believe in you, you have to believe in yourself. I know it's hard. I know it almost seems impossible, but you have to try. Alright, I'm gonna try to do this. So, with what I'm about to tell you guys, just know that people are gonna criticize you, because, let's see. Alright. There's always going to be people that are going to criticize you for trying. You have to remember that. So these people try to bring you down, but I know for a fact if someone like me, as weak as I am, can succeed, I know that all of you can too. So just keep that in mind, alright? Think about people. As people, we have the fire within us to fight, to survive, and to succeed. Don't squander that by letting that flame burn out. And if you by chance have let that happen, then I just want you all to know that there's always going to be people like me out there that are going to believe in you and are going to do what they can to help. So I'm doing what I can. If you've let that flame burn out, I'm going to do what I can to reignite that for all of you again. Anyway, alright, that's enough. Anyway, I've always, especially in recent times, thought of the term the Battle of the Bulge, right? And, you know, it's a funny little term because if you know exactly what to do, it's not even a fight. So I'm gonna do what I can to tell you all what I know. So this video is about counting calories and counting macros. It's something that's mostly unnecessary for most people to lose weight, especially if you're overweight and eating clean and eating food that is nutritionally dense and satiating. It might not be necessary, but all this is important to know nonetheless. Counting calories is a great place to begin for someone who has, you know, become more active, started eating cleaner, more nutritionally dense, satiating food, but has reached a plateau. So by doing this, you're basically setting yourself up to succeed. You know, if you've reached that plateau and you really want to break past that as efficiently as possible, this is something that'll really help you. Counting macros along with calories is a great way to optimize your results and save you a lot of time and heartache. I had a year-long plateau because I was very prideful in what I was doing at the time, which was low carb. And I was not tracking my calories. And I was eating all this, like, I was eating 40, 50 chicken wings a day. You know, just eating 3,000, 4,000 calories like I used to be able to do, you know, as someone who's 210 pounds. And I got all the way back up to 235, 240 pounds in a year. I couldn't lose a single bit of weight, even though I tried so hard. And I'm telling you all this so you don't have to go through that, because it's heartbreaking. Unless you have the willpower to persevere, it can be really just heartbreaking. So I'm going to go over calories first, and then I'll go over macros second. So for this video, all the calculations that I'll be providing will be in pounds. So if you use kilos, you may want to find your weight in pounds beforehand, just so you can follow along in this video. So you can go ahead and pause the video and do that if you need to do so. Alright, calories. General rule of thumb is 10 to 12 calories per pound of body weight. If you are active with what you feel is a good metabolism, then start with 12 calories. If you are active with a slower metabolism, start with 11 calories. If you're completely sedentary, you want to start with 10 calories per pound of body weight. For women, you want to drop that down by 1. So instead of 10 to 12 calories, you want to use 9 to 11. So if you're very obese and you want to have quicker results, you can go with 7 to 8 calories per pound of total body weight, but I would not go any lower than that. I wouldn't recommend going any lower than that. Alright, so macros. First I'm going to cover protein, then I'm going to cover fat, and then I'll cover carbohydrates. So protein. At a minimum, you want to get 60 to 120 grams of protein, and this goes for the average person. 140 grams of protein is great if you're 6 foot or over, if you know 6 foot tall or over. It's probably a good idea to get around 140 grams of protein, maybe 145, 150. Basic calculation for that is 0.82 grams per pound of lean body mass. So if you don't know your lean body mass and you're a male under 6 foot, then you want to stick to around 100 grams to 130 grams of protein a day. If you're a female and you don't know your lean body mass, you can just go ahead and stick to 80 grams to 110 grams of protein a day. If you're an older female above age 50, you'll likely be fine with at least 60 grams of protein a day. If you want to eat higher protein, around 1 gram per pound of body weight, it will be good for keeping you full. 1 gram per pound of body weight, even 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. It'll be good for keeping you full, but it won't be necessary. It's actually unreasonable for those that are very obese. So if you're very obese, you don't, eating 1 gram per pound of body weight in protein is not only expensive, but it's pretty unnecessary. I wouldn't recommend that. Okay, so for fat, I prefer eating a flat amount of 45% of my total body weight in pounds and fat, which you can find by multiplying your total body weight by 0.45. If you want to simplify things further, I would go ahead and recommend doing this. You can eat half of your total body weight in pounds of fat. So if you're someone who weighs 300 pounds, you can eat 150 grams of fat. If you're someone who weighs 200 pounds and you want to lose weight, eat 100 grams of fat. So essentially you want to eat anywhere between 20% to 40% of your daily calories from fat, and that will be optimal. So for carbohydrates, there's a reason why low carb works for those that are overweight and obese, and it has less to do with cutting out carbs as a whole, unless the person is insulin resistant, and more to do with them finally getting the amount of fat and protein that their body requires, for hormones to be optimal and all that stuff. Basically, it has more to do with that, and it allows them to not only get that protein and that fat requirement done, but it allows them to also stay in a calorie deficit because they're cutting back carbohydrates. So basically, if there's a macro that needs to be sacrificed for the sake of a lower calorie intake, let that macro be carbs over fat and over protein. So keep in mind that carbs are also important, though. Despite what information you may or may not have heard, they are very important. 100 grams to 120 grams is a great baseline for carb intake to replenish liver glycogen on a daily basis. Going any lower than 50 grams is really unnecessary. I really see no point in doing so, especially if you're already within a calorie deficit. So it's important to remember and to think of and use carbs as filler calories for your goals after setting up your fat and protein macros. So after setting up and knowing what you want to eat for your fat macros and for your protein macros, you want to go in and fill in the rest of those calories with either protein or, carbohydrates. So I'm going to go over counting calories through macros. One thing I recommend doing is downloading the MyFitnessPal app, or you can use their website to help you track your intake. MyFitnessPal is a database of food that you can search and add to your food diary. You can maintain a food diary on a daily basis. You can also create custom labels for food. You can search calories for food that doesn't have nutrition labels too. For example, if you're eating a banana, you can search the database for banana USDA, and by doing so, it'll allow you to figure out the calories and the macros of that banana. You can add USDA when searching the database for any item, whether it's meat, nuts, fruit, vegetables, to figure out the nutritional data on any item. Tracking things through your macros will give you an accurate representation of your calorie intake. This is the basic breakdown of macronutrients. Macronutrients meaning fat, carbs, and protein. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. And then 1 gram of carbohydrates also equals 4 calories. So my method of counting macros goes like this. First, I subtract the dietary fiber from the total carbohydrates. Add that number to the amount of protein, multiply that number by 4, and then set that number to the side. After setting that number to the side, I take the amount of total fat and I multiply that by 9. And then after getting that number, I take the number that I set off to the side from the protein and the carbs, and I add those two numbers together, and then I get the total calories of that item. A lot of the times, the calories on a certain item might overshoot. They might overestimate, you could say. So counting through the macros is a great way to be really accurate on your calories if you're wishing to do so. I want to speak briefly now about getting a food scale. So a food scale is one of the best investments I've made. They're very cheap. Most cost around $20 if you get them at a grocery store. Getting one that can measure in grams, ounces, and pounds, if you're in the United States, will be really helpful. And the best part about them is, they can really make sure that you're tracking your calories and macros correctly. I mean, it makes it so all the effort that you're putting in is not going to waste. And it's not something that takes a lot of time to do. You know, it really only takes a couple seconds to weigh your food, really. I mean, and it's not something you'll have to do for the rest of your life. You know, after you've done it long enough, you can learn to estimate food better. You know, so but you know, for the sake of optimization, I do recommend using one just for now. Okay, so I'm gonna just list off a couple tips now. So, know your calories and macros for fat loss. Carbs don't make you fat. Carbs in the evening don't make you fat. Eating a surplus of calories for an extended period of time due to overeating and lack of physical activity is what makes you fat. Don't worry about meal timing. You can eat 1 meal a day, you can eat 2 meals a day, 3 meals, 4 meals, 6 meals, 10 small meals a day. Really doesn't matter. Just focus on your calories and your macros for now, all right? Don't worry about your sodium intake. So long as your sodium intake is fairly, you know, even across the board, you don't have to do any kind of manipulation with all that, you know. Drink water. Eating clean may be a good place to start simply because of the attachments you might have regarding food and that you might not have disciplined yourself yet to break. Be as active as possible, even if it's just getting up and walking every day. That can really help you. That really does make a difference. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. I actually want to speak a little bit about my services. So I understand that having made this video, it probably takes away most of my business because I'm giving you all everything, and that's the truth. That might spell bad news for me, but whatever. Sometimes there are things that are more important out there, like this. Life is too short to be spent suffering, especially if that suffering is something that you can change. You do have the power to change your weight. No matter how hopeless you feel, no matter how hopeless you feel, you have the power to change your weight. So don't ever forget that. Everything I've talked about is pretty much all you need to get started. But if you ever need help or suggestions with your macros, or would like more in-depth advice on, you know, things that work or things that I do personally as far as nutrition, like with intermittent fasting, or with you know, even my training, you can, you know, feel free to contact me on Facebook and I'll provide you with more information. Basically, I do offer training guides and nutrition guides regarding both of those at $20 and $15 US respectively. Alright, so in closing, in the next video of this series, I do plan to talk about cheat days and refeeds, which is something that I planned to do a long time ago, but I never got around to because of my surgery on September 30th of last year. But I do plan to get around to doing that, so probably the next video I make in this series will have to do with that. So, if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And if you don't mind, it would really, really mean a lot with me if you shared this with your family and friends. I really do wish to help as many people as possible, and I hope this video can reach a lot of people. You know, honestly, you know, I know what it's like to feel alone. I know what it's like to feel that the whole world seems like it's against you, especially if you're fighting with your weight and you're fighting with those issues. So know that there's people like me out there who've succeeded and will share what they've learned. Alright, so that's about it for now. Talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.